Well, China takes its media very seriously, all media very seriously. Authoritarian states rely on propaganda to keep power. When challenged, they pick up cudgels. As we speak, the US and China are also fighting a media war. America imposed restrictions on Chinese media outlets. China retaliated. Its actions reveal how much Beijing depends on the media right now to fix its image when the whole world is slamming it. Tonight, we're bringing you a very special report on how China funds an expansive media network across countries and languages. From offering free content to training journalists and acquiring entire networks, China is desperate to control the global narrative.
From trade war to media war, the US and China are fighting on many fronts. The latest flashpoint is the media. In this information age, controlling the public narrative is a priority. China is a pundit in public relations. Its use of state media to push propaganda is unmatched. And the US government wants none of it on American soil.
They write fake stories.
America has designated 4 Chinese media outlets as foreign missions.
This should never happen. I say this in front of my friends.
It says Beijing has full editorial control over their content. So they will be treated as embassies. They have to report details about their staff and the properties they hold in the US. Now, a total of 9 Chinese media outlets are under scrutiny. China has retaliated and imposed similar sanctions on US media outlets in China. On the list are Associated Press, the National Public Radio, CBS News, and the United Press International News Agency. They must reveal the same details that the US demanded from Chinese media outlets. China is unhappy because American restrictions hurt its global media strategy. China runs a worldwide propaganda machine to control the narrative. So how does China do it? Number 1, journalism exchanges and training schemes. China is conducting a media outreach campaign in almost every continent. Journalists are called to China on fully sponsored trips that sometimes last 10 months. On target are journalists from developing countries with weak governments. For instance, one Latin American nation reported that more than 50 journalists went to China on a 2-month trip, mostly from left publications. China accuses the West of brainwashing journalists. Now it's trying to do the same. Number 2, content sharing agreements. Chinese state media content such as Xinhua and CGTN offer stories and videos for free. They also run paid content in foreign outlets. Stories that speak of the superior Chinese way. Reports say China has such agreements with at least 25 to 30 media outlets in Afghanistan alone. In Africa, China sells stories that show how Beijing is helping in Africa's development. Journalists in Kenya say it's refreshing as Western media only focuses on African catastrophes. Number 3, media presence and acquisitions. China is buying legacy companies or setting up digital joint ventures overseas. This helps Beijing control the content. Chinese media presence is higher in the Asia-Pacific region and Africa compared to Latin America and Europe. China's Star Times in Africa has become a dominating satellite television player. Chinese media companies and businessmen are helping out too. In Hong Kong, the South China Morning Post is owned by the Alibaba Group. And America's concerns are not unfounded. China daily spending in the United States has soared from $500,000 in 2009 to more than $5 million in 2019. How the newspaper spent this amount is unclear. The general belief is it sold propaganda. Bureau Report, WION World is One.